Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger. My friends, the hits just keep on coming. A lot of stuff going on in the FGC recently, and now we have a gameplay guide for Testament for Guilty Gear Strive. This version of Testament being very different than the old version of Testament. The recent trailer we had definitely left more than a few questions to be answered. And those questions, well, now they're being answered, and everything about Testament looks really cool. And one of the first things we have here is the Stained State. This is the purple debuff that we saw before. So this state will always be applied whenever the enemy is hit by either the Crow projectile or one of Testament's super moves. At which point, it's effectively a delayed time bomb, so it will explode when hit by certain moves, seemingly appears to be most normals. Gives a lot of utility for sure. In this example, they're using an uncharged dust attack, which then triggers the Stained Explosion. So uncharged dust is a lot harder to block than a charged dust, right? And this way you still get a full combo out of it. So now with the Stained State, a basic uncharged dust is now a deadly move you gotta watch out for. Now next up here, the Grave Reaper. This is Testament's projectile attack. Now the big thing to talk here before anything else is wherever the projectile ends up, the little succubus buddy will be just kind of waving around, right? I wondered originally, is this a mechanic or is this cosmetic? And turns out it's a very important mechanic. Other moves will be affected by the placement of where exactly the succubus is. So this move is multifaceted in both that it's a projectile that you want to hit people with, right? And it is also a setup to set up further moves and attacks. As for the move, the slash version gives you a straightforward shot. The heavy slash version gives you an angled shot. So if you're on the ground, it'll shoot straight up, for example. The initial shot of the skull is also two hitters. The scythe hits and the skull hits. The projectiles will also travel further at a very slow pace if you hold the buttons. So if you're looking for that extra element of screen control, it is there. So all in all, looks like it's going to be a very useful and mainstay tool. Next is Unholy Diver, which, okay, it's the name, I guess, but that is our bird friend. And bird friend is the primary way to apply the Stained debuff state. Now you might notice it's a straight shot. In other trailers, it's kind of angled. So the main thing here is where the succubus is on the screen after the projectile, the bird will always try to aim itself at that specifically. So the game plan is basically applying the succubus where you need it to be on the screen to aim the bird, and then shooting the bird towards the succubus, and then the rest kind of works itself out. Once again, the state is applied on hit or on block, so you just need to get the bird to touch the opponent. Also, the succubi dance when they're reunited, and I think that's kind of cool. Now we have our next move, Possession, and this also is reliant on the position of the succubus. Possession is a straight up teleport. So wherever the succubus is, you will teleport to the succubus. And you can also do this while you're in the air. And if you hold the button, you'll just teleport in place. So even if the succubus is on the screen, you can do it as a little bit of a fake out. Really strong mobility tool to say the least. And will more likely be very strong for pressure. So this is going to be one of the benefits of setting up an air succubus, as you can teleport from the air as well. And the Arbiter Sign is a straight up guess high, guess low projectile. It has limited tracking. It won't work point blank, won't work necessarily full screen apparently. But for the most part, mid screen, yeah, it'll track pretty decently. And it's just straight up. If it comes up top, it has to be blocked high. If it comes on low, it has to be blocked low. There's a small tell in the portal where it starts, but otherwise it is very fast for what it is. Now we have our first of our two supers here, Nostrovia. And this is one of the two ways we can apply the Stained State, the other one being the Crow projectile. Now, one thing to notice here, right off the bat, besides the fact that it applies the state, which is all good, and the animation is very beautiful here and very elaborate, is that Testament recovers almost immediately. Like a split second after the succubi go on their big attack here, Testament is in the neutral pose and can do whatever they want to do. So multifaceted in the way, one, if it hits, then awesome, you can get a combo, right? But if they have to block, then you can go for some mix-up potential. Go in either for a quick low or an uncharged dust, and if they block incorrectly, they're going to get hit by the succubi anyways, and you can combo out. So could be very good for pressure, and also just like the Crow projectile, it applies the Stained State on hit or on block. So as long as they block, you're good to go. Thing is, though, this is an offensive / pressure super. You are not getting any invincibility. That's what this super is for. Summoning the giant EXE beast to Calamity 1. This is your invincible reversal super. Also, the startup, it looks a bit more quick, so may work in combos that the other super may not work in. But as you can see here, it definitely has the invincibility frames, can go through stuff. The damage isn't like, say, Gold Lewis level or anything, but when you need a reversal and Testament does not have any other reversals, this will do. So Testament definitely seemingly has a lot to work with. Big normals. I'm always a big fan of big normals. Big special moves. Big everything, basically. Lots of control on the ground. If you get hit with the Stain State, you're in a lot crazier pressure. If the Succubus is up, you have to worry about teleports and even more pressure because the Crow applied the Stain State, this, that, and the other. It's almost like, where's the weakness, right? And the only weaknesses I can really identify is, one, Testament has no reversal potential outside of the EXE Beast super move. But then again, honestly, that's a lot of the cast, right? They only have a reversal and a super, so that's nothing really too outstanding or different. Maybe trouble against jumpers? This is the 6P right here, and I guess it looks only adequate, although it does stuff Ramlethal's jump, so I guess it's decent enough, right? The video did mention that forward heavy slash is good at controlling the air, so I guess the hitbox that you're seeing here is exactly what it looks like. And this looks terrifyingly huge to me, so I guess that's pretty good for Testament fans. But there could always be stuff in the frame data and the numbers that balance everything out that we don't quite know just yet, right? But then again, you know, Testament's gameplay style is listed as quote-unquote balance, so maybe they're meant to be just an all-rounder with just really good neutral and ground control. To go over this specific sequence though, I think you're gonna get frustrated a lot against Testament. You're gonna want to mash buttons. Like here, Stain State is up, block 6P, so that triggers the explosion, which means you're more blocks done, which means it's still Testament's turn. Testament is plus here. Get hit by a quick 2K2D, happens to everybody, right? And then we set up the projectile, which means the Succubus is now going to be on screen. Hits meaty, so you have to wake up into it and block, and therefore it's Testament's turn still. Looks like they try to jump out, get hit again, get knocked down again, rinse and repeat. It's going to be the same setup. This time looks like they tried to mash out, get the big counter. And because if they played passive, then the bird was going to be used to reapply the Stain State, which means they're going to get more turns and just keep taking turns over and over and over, right? So I can definitely see people getting frustrated and losing patience and getting blown up for it against Testament. As it stands, Testament's definitely a wild redesign from Old Testament in terms of gameplay, but I think this Testament looks really cool and really fun. So however they wind up playing, I'm digging what I'm seeing so far. And we don't have too much longer to wait to see how it's all going to go out. It's going to be next week. So when the time comes, look forward to the channel because I'll have all sorts of combos, text, this, that, and the other for Testament for your perusal. Anyways, my friends, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Guilty Gear.